Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Presented by PrizePicks when you use the promo code. Welcome to Light Years. Oh, nothing hurts like the NBA Cup, man. Nothing hurts like an NBA Cup loss.
I'm glad you're able to have some humor about it because I don't
Well,
have much right now.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the jokes are coming out now because it's not going to be happy-go-lucky much longer.
Just what a brutal way to lose. I mean, I don't have much more than that at the moment. 2 shot clock violations in the last 2 minutes. A bad
was it only 2?
I think in the last 2 minutes, I think it was only 2. It could have been 3.
Okay, so if you throw in the turnovers,
yep,
it was 4, if not 5 possessions of not getting a shot off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which,
and
like, I mean, that's like JUCO team playing like a D1 team level of execution type of stuff. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's just like you don't see that in NBA. You don't see that level of like you cannot even like forget getting a bad shot. You can't even get a shot.
I mean, the only guy on your entire team who can dribble is 36 years old.
I got a text from someone who was like, man, that last possession by Steph was a bad offense. What were they thinking? And I'm just sitting here, I'm going like, did you watch the previous 5 minutes? Because I agree with you. Him taking a early shot clock probably 5 feet farther than he wanted shot is not the ideal shot. But that's the best offense they can run in those situations right now, which is like an overarching commentary on how devoid of fucking talent they are. Like, do they have a better option than Steph putting one up fast before the defense is set in crunch time scenarios?
Absolutely not. And I don't think it was a bad shot at all. It's the greatest shooter of all time, getting a wide open look. Sure. And he's probably thinking in that situation, he's probably trying to manage some clock, right? Like he's
but if you're trying to manage clock, you probably want to run it down a little more. But they don't have that luxury because they literally went 5 possessions in a row without getting a shot off.
I actually disagree with that because you're thinking if we don't score here, then we're going to need time to get the ball back and score. And that's kind of, I mean, obviously it was a scramble after he misses, and that took a lot of time off the clock. But he's shooting it early just in case they don't score, so they do get another possession. They can run some action if they need to get another look if Houston comes down and scores off the miss. He's thinking almost 2 for 1 in that situation. And even though you're up, and that might sound crazy, but I would assume that was his mentality going into I would assume.
I can buy your logic. It's like kind of like galaxy brain a little bit, but
for sure.
I get where you come, but like, doesn't the overarching point come back to they can't run anything conventional because they don't have options. Like a conventional team would want to run it down, maybe run a split cut, have a couple back, like secondary options if they overplay Steph, like if this is the if it's 2017 Warriors, we're not in the situation, but like, let's say it's the 2022 Warriors, which is closer to a normal team, right? They're able to run the clock down because if Steph gets blitzed, you have Clay in the weak side corner or Jordan Poole. You have Wiggins on, like you have options that can get you something. And this team, Chad's saying they have too many specialists. I don't even think they have too many specialists. I think they have too many marginal players. Is what it really comes down to at this point. It's like I like them all. Like I'm never going to say a bad thing about GP2. He made himself an NBA player, but like he shouldn't be in closing situations. Looney was out there because, quite frankly, just trusting him, but he also shouldn't be out there. Kuminga, there's a case to be made. They lost that game because he's not aware enough to dive for the ball.
Oh my God.
But then you could also say, what the hell was GP2 doing throwing that pass? All this comes back to, bro, a serious team is not running the lineup combinations they're running out there.
Absolutely. It's that game of whack-a-mole that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, where you're dealing with a ton of imperfect options and none of them are going to look great. Maybe Buddy should have been on the floor. Maybe Slow-Mo should have been on the floor. But the thing is, at this point, you're just playing results. If they win, nobody really talks about it. If they lose, it's, oh, the coaching decisions. It's this, it's that. They don't have the guys. At the end of the day, they don't have the guys. And I cannot disagree more with the comments right now saying it's a bad shot by Steph. You can't view these things in a vacuum. That play does not happen in a vacuum.
It's a
Steph,
bad shot if he has KD and Clay
correct.
standing next to him.
Yes.
But he doesn't.
Yes, he's looking at how the game's flowing. They haven't scored in over 2 minutes. It might have been 3 minutes. And he's saying, we just have to get a shot up here. And he got a clean look from 3. And he's thinking, okay, if we miss, then we have another chance to come down and score. Because that's how this team has to play at this point. You can't, there are no options on the weak side. That is the best shot they're going to get no matter how much time is on the clock. So, yeah, you're just dealing with a bunch of imperfect options, and it makes everyone look worse. From top down, it makes Steph look worse, it makes Draymond look worse, and it makes all the bench guys look worse because nobody's in the correct role.
It just fucking sucks. I really wanted to go to Vegas. I really wanted the NBA Cup. I'm very into it. You know I'm into it. As far as I'm concerned, this tournament's a fraud. It never was real. Everything I said about it, fake. Don't consider it. But yeah, no, it sucked. Like losing to Houston also, like it's not a rivalry, but it's always been nice to beat Houston because of the history there. And I can't even say that. They broke the losing streak. And honestly, like their offense is putrid too.
Oh, yeah.
It just made one more play. So
yeah. No, the defense has not been the issue. And that's the funny part, even with Melton going down and you're losing a really elite defender, the defense still hasn't been the issue. And I think they are searching to try and find more offense. I want to say Buddy probably played 32, 33 minutes tonight. And I think that's a conscious choice, regardless of who's healthy and who's not. I do think for the time being, they're going to try to get Buddy more minutes just because they need the 35 minutes. Buddy played more minutes than anybody besides Kuminga tonight.
Particularly against a team like Houston, where you're not necessarily worried about them super exposing him. You might as well just go offense. But yeah,
no, but they're searching for options right now offensively. And Buddy is one of the only guys on the team who can put the ball in the bucket. So you kind of just have to roll with him. And I thought he was fine tonight. He wasn't great, but he provides spacing and he gives you just a little bit more juice on that side of the ball. But the offense is the most glaring issue right now. It's clearly the most glaring issue. And so there is no way to solve it on this roster. And that's the shitty part. And we keep talking in circles about it, but there is no solve within the current construction of this team.
I mean, they missed Wiggins tonight and they missed Melton tonight, but they did not miss him for defensive reasons. They missed him for offensive reasons. And, they're not great offensive players either, but they are better than the options that were thrown out there for the most part tonight. And they're better two-way players that are thrown out there tonight. So that's the other aspect of it. They're still struggling with shot creation. Those guys aren't necessarily fixing shot creation. They're just giving you guys who are more reliable shot makers and can do a little more off the bounce than some of the options that are going out there. That just fucking sucks. Like all this, we're 4 days away from the trade market opening up and guys being eligible. And, if the front office wanted to dilute itself into thinking, oh, we're in the NBA Cup semifinals and we can wait this out. I don't know how long they can really wait before they make a move.
Yeah. And it's actually, I think the season has started in almost kind of a perfect way to show that something does need to happen. We can talk through options till we're blue in the face, but it's very obvious just from number one, how they started. They started and they showed like this team has a very solid floor. They compete really hard. Like even tonight,
they're well coached.
Yeah, they're well coached.
No matter what everyone wants. Like Draymond, Kerr, the identity of this team like is a good foundation.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, this is a game where over the past couple of years, they probably fold a little bit to start that second half. And it just is kind of like a 10 to 15 point game the entire second half. They never really compete. They got the lead. I mean, they were leading with a couple minutes left in the game. And so I think the identity of the team it's different. It really is than it has been the past couple of years, which is something good. It's something positive you can build on. But at the end of the day, you do need the talent eventually. You can only scheme your way and outsmart and outcoach your way for so long before it catches up with the more talented teams in the league. And that's what we've seen happen in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not much like I don't know. I'm still kind of fucking pissed about this game. I don't know how
Yeah.
else to put it.
Yeah.
But everything you're saying, I agree with, and kind of blue in the face, repeating it over and over again. Like we can go down the list of things. Like I thought Draymond was brilliant defensively most of the
Yeah.
night. I thought this was look 91 points. And it should have been under 90 if not for that last possession. Like you really can't ask for more. Is he the front runner for defensive player of the year? Like it doesn't really matter because I don't really trust the award voters to get this stuff right since they give it to Gobert every other year for no fucking reason. But like he's still the most impactful defender. And you can't he's lost his two best perimeter defenders. And like Wiggins will be back next game, but Melton's done for the year. But it's just like even with Lindy Waters, Buddy Hield, Kuminga, who's he should be a good defender physically, but he's still very much a work in progress.
An improved defender, Kuminga, improved. Yeah, I want to say that.
But even with all that, it's like you give Draymond dudes, he's going to get them defending well in general. And like, I get it. Houston's not great offense, but it was just one of those games where I'm like, man, this guy could still quarterback a championship caliber defense. That's what I saw tonight. He can't carry a team, but I don't think he ever has been able to. But in terms of can he be the quarterback of a championship caliber defender? Yeah, everything I've seen this year, he's still that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really doubted that. I almost doubt it.
No, but you always like he gets older. You always are kind of like, is this the year? And
sure,
it's not the year.
Like I would, and I'm not saying I do, but I would doubt more that Steph is still the guy offensively. And I don't doubt that. I've still seen enough when it matters in the right moments that he can still create shots, but he also just looks Steph now. He just looks exhausted most of the time because part of the issue down the stretch is that there's just nobody else who can like literally dribble.
I mean, I don't even want. I'm not even going to go there in the sense of I don't know if anyone in the West is playing with less offensive talent than him. Not of playoff teams, of any roster.
Yeah,
Wemby has more offensive talent around him.
Who's offensive talent are you taking? Utah's or Golden State's offensive?
In terms of what is surrounding Lauri Markkanen versus what is surrounding Steph Curry?
Yes.
Utah.
Right.
I mean, Jordan Clarkson would look like a godsend on this team, which is
oh my God. Colin Sexton,
statement I really wish I wouldn't say out loud. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's like one of those things where it's just like and like there's things to go out, like the chat's talking about pods. It could not be more of a nightmare. Like sure. He's been terrible. Not taking that step, but it's like it goes so much deeper than that. It's like they kind of bet every dollar on him being able to be an star caliber creator this year, and he's not even what he was last year. So that's just that. What a mess.
And look, we were both drinking the Kool-Aid before the season. Like, hey man, you can do a most improved player. He's got that in his bag. He's like, let's be very clear about this. He's been shit. Let's not mince words. Pods has been awful, but not having other options makes it look even worse. And part of that is the Melton injury. It's hard to leave that out. Like he would not be playing as much if Melton were still healthy. So you got to give the front office some credit for going to get Melton, but not having anything else outside of that, anybody else who can dribble or create any type of offense. It just shows when, you lose one guy and it's like, oh my God, the sky is falling. And I never thought losing Melton would hurt the offense more than it hurt the defense, but it has hurt the offense way, way, way more than it's hurt the defense.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, not much else to say on that subject. Before we move forward, I got something interesting for you. But before we move forward, let me tell you about our friends. Our friends at Prize Picks. Guys, time to get in on the real money action. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible for all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 200x your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Download the app today. You use the code LIGHTYEARS. Get $50 instantly when you play $5 in your first lineup. That's right. Deposit $5. They give you $50. So essentially, they're paying you $45 just to download the app and use the promo code. So use the code LIGHTYEARS. Get that money. Prize Picks. Run your game.
All right. Now it's Chairman Pro time. Let's talk about Manscaped. With the holidays creeping up faster than your aunt's fruitcake recipe, I've got something way better to share with you. If you want to look sharp for all those festive gatherings and maybe finally win the Best Groomed Family Dinner Award, check out the latest masterpiece from Manscaped, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver. Trust me, it's like Rudolph for your face, guiding you to a smooth, irritation-free shave. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code LIGHTYEARS for 20% off plus free shipping. Got another holiday party this weekend, and the beard has grown back super, super quick this time. So, I'm just going to get in there with the skin safe stubble trimmer, trim this thing down and look good for the holiday party. Wear an ugly sweater probably. So it should be a good time. Get the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code LIGHTYEARS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code LIGHTYEARS at manscaped.com.
Had to get the close up to see the shave, see if it was as good as advertised for everyone coming in here.
It's getting real scruffy right now. I got to clean it up. I need a haircut too. All kinds of grooming issues going on right now.
Haircut today. I'm good. Yeah. I'm good to go, at least for a few days. Steve Kerr just said this.
Kind of decided the game. I've never seen a baseball foul on a jump ball situation 80 feet from the basket with the game on board. I've never seen that. I think I saw it in college one time, 30 years ago. Never seen it in the NBA. That is unconscionable. I don't even understand what just happened.
Just slightly agitated.
So
I think he was really annoyed with the refs all night. We had kind of the late jump shot there where Steph got it like mid post, got fouled. They didn't call it. And then I think they called some BS on the other end. And I've never seen Steve so frustrated with the officials as he has been this year, like so consistently. And what I've been wondering, does that speak to something more? Is there like other stuff, kind of like other frustrations bubbling over? And he just feels like he has to take it on the refs because he doesn't have any other avenue to like really express his frustration.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I'm seeing it. Like on the one hand, I get where he's coming from. That call in that moment, like, come on, like standard rule of basketball is you let him play. You let him play. No one wants the refs deciding those type of moments in a game. And I think that's ultimately where Steve's coming from. But I also feel like he's just like, I kind of want to just be like, what the fuck is this roster? But I can't say that right now. I don't know. He's trying to keep morale up. He's generally had a positive attitude about morale all season in general. Steve, I see through you, man. I see through you right now. I just don't buy that you're that all about the refs at this moment. I think it's an overarching thing of the frustration of the situation he's in.
Absolutely. I mean, that's 100% my take on it. And you never call that foul because you can probably call 4 different fouls on that play. If you just want to like break it down, like by the letter of the law, how many fouls occurred in that scramble play in those 6 seconds or whatever it was from the time GP went to the floor until the time Kuminga and whoever it was went to the floor, you can probably call 4 different fouls on both teams. So to come in to like blow your whistle and point, I think they called it on Loon, I guess. I don't even know. Just call the jump ball. Like just jump it at center court if you have to. Like it's just kind of ridiculous. And I don't know, to lose a game like that, And look, it was more than the refs. Like, you got to find a way to get some shots down the stretch. It's not all on the refs, but I think it's a little bit of Steve being frustrated with that, and he doesn't want to come down too hard on the team because it's really hard to get mad at your guys when they're playing as hard as these guys are. So he's not going to get mad at the team in this moment. He knows they just don't have enough. So he's got to direct the energy somewhere, and I think the only place is the refs.
Yeah. Let's talk about other players in this game. Let's talk Kuminga. Let's talk pods. Ugh. This is the fucking toxic war zone. Talking pods right now.
God.
But let's talk Kuminga. All right, so Kuminga is starting. He's playing. He's getting what he wants, which is to play 36 minutes a game, 20 points, 20 shots, 7 rebounds. What did you think of his game overall? Are you encouraged by the direction Pods is going? Keep in mind this on the back.
Kuminga?
Oh, sorry. Kuminga. Yeah. Kuminga is going. No one's encouraged on the direction Pods is going, to be clear.
No.
But Kuminga, you got the backdrop of no contract, and you have the backdrop of like Windhorse, and just they're evaluating him. They're trying to decide if they need to move him or he's part of the future, which I mean, I feel like I've heard that report 4 trade deadlines in a row, but that's another conversation. Thoughts on Kuminga tonight?
Well, it's like, number one, just to bounce off that last part, if you don't know already in year 4, then you probably already know. If you're unsure how he's probably 200 games into his career, right around there, let's call it, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. If you don't know by then, the answer is probably pretty clear. And number 2, if they kind of told him what they think when they didn't offer him a max contract, when a lot of the guys from his same draft class did get a max contract. And, well, I have been, I'm apparently the biggest Kuminga hater in the world. I have been very encouraged by
monster.
Yes. Yeah, monster. I have been very encouraged by a lot of the strides he's taken in the smaller parts of his game. His attention to detail, his defense, his rebounding, 7 more rebounds tonight. I think he's improved as a ball handler. There's still a long way to go. The shot looks more confident, the 3-point shot. It's not always going in, but the conversation to me is still less about him and more about what they're asking of him and what the roster needs of him. So I'm going to read some stats real quick, okay? Kuminga's last 3 games, 41% from the field, 28% from 3, 50% from the free throw line. Like,
that's terrible right now.
Brutal. And he is showing more craft and more touch around the rim. And I think he's making legitimate strides as a finisher in terms of being more patient, doing a little bit better job of like avoiding defenders and finishing kind of scoop shots and tough angle shots. Like there's legitimate improvement within, I would say, almost every area of his game. But he's still 21, 22, however old he is. And if it all comes down to, are they serious about being a championship contender? And if that is the case, he will not get there this year. I hate to say it. I wish he would. That would make everybody's life, including ours, a lot easier. But it's not realistic to think like that right now.
Here's my question for you. What do you think his long-term upside is in the NBA? Give me a player comp, because I was asked this question by a friend of the show, Aaron Larsoul. It's a good question. That's like, where are you with him? What do you think he's going to be?
I mean, it's the names we've heard thrown around before. Like, I don't think like being
Kawhi Leonard.
Siakam, no. Okay, we're not going that high. I don't think he's a future MVP, but could I see all-star games in his future? Sure, absolutely. Am I saying that's going to happen unequivocally? No, but can I see Pascal Siakam, that type of player? Yeah, why not? Maybe sneak into an All-NBA team or two, but that's saying he achieves a 90th, 95th, 99th percentile outcome. But that doesn't always happen. It doesn't always work out that way. More likely, he's Aaron Gordon, he's Sean Marion, and maybe like Sean Marion with a little bit more scoring punch, more modern version, however you want to term it. But it doesn't always work out it doesn't always achieve the highest level of. And I think this is where like Warriors fans get fooled, where it's like, we held on to Steph and we held on to Clay, we held on to Draymond, and look how it turned out. Yeah, those guys are some of the most competitive dudes and some of the biggest outliers in NBA history. That's not going to happen for every young player that you have on your team. Just because they're on the Golden State Warriors doesn't mean it's going to end up that they become a superstar. I wish it was that simple, but it's not.
Yeah. The names that have been in my head have been Rudy Gay and Julius Randle recently. Obviously,
Sure.
different position than Randle, but it's just kind of like I hate the Aaron Gordon comp because Aaron Gordon's always kind of been kind of like a dirty work glue guy who's miscast. I think he's going to average 20 in this league, and the question is going to be how impactful is the 20? You know,
right?
Is he going to be the Rudy Gay like 20 points, but like that type of thing, or is it going to be a more impactful on the pods front? I don't even know where you go. I don't even know what the team does with him at this point. I actually didn't think he played a terrible game today, but it's like one of those what?
He's +4 tonight. Like he wasn't terrible. He just can't make shots.
He can't make enough shots, and he's just not a good enough playmaker for the role they've casted him in. Last year, he was kind of a secondary connective playmaker. This year, they want him to run a second unit. It hasn't worked out. I mean, he's not hitting nearly enough shots to justify it. And the worst part for the Warriors right now is they don't have another option to go to. You know, they don't. Like Pat Spencer gets in there every now and then, provides a little energy juice, but I don't think that's a better option.
No.
They literally don't have another ball handler.
Yeah, and I think
so it's something that makes like the Dennis Schroeder thing like super attractive because they like literally just need another point guard. They need another ball handler. Period.
Yeah,
Period.
and I hate to even say it. You know why Pods probably looked better last year? He was sharing almost all of his minutes with one of Steph Curry or Chris Paul or Chris Paul, which sounds hilarious, but offensively,
Chris Paul's a good player though.
Right. But that offensively, at least, and there was other issues with having Chris Paul on the team, like tons of them. But just offensively, that made Pod's job a lot easier. He didn't have to really, he got to just be, like you said, kind of that secondary handler, connector. And so his role was pared down offensively. And now they're asking more of him, and he's not there. And, somebody in the chat saying, Pods, he's an off-ball guy. And right now he kind of is, but he doesn't shoot well enough to be an off-ball guy. So there really is no role for him offensively. And it sucks. It's not fun for anybody. It's not fun for the team. It's not fun for the organization. It's not fun for Pods. It's not fun for the fans.
He's kind of getting the brunt of the blame. And look, this doesn't mean he's playing well or the criticism isn't valid because he's playing poorly. But like, they have so little ball handling compared to other teams. Just so little, And it's ironic because they still play small. But like usually when you play small, that means you have like multiple guards out there who can handle. In the Warriors case, I don't know what it really means. They don't have a lot of ball handlers out there. Like Lindy Waters is probably their third best option at point guard at this point. And Lindy's not a point guard, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm going down the list here. They lack guys. First off, they lack anyone other than Steph who can do anything off the bounce offensively. But they just lack guys who can create a play in general. So it is kind of exposing Pods more than anything, right? Like it's making it because like they were hoping he could. I mean, this is insane, but they're like hoping he'd be like Jordan Poole, and he's not that type of player. And he may end up being an excellent player. He may end up being a better player than Jordan Poole, but he is still not that type of player, if that makes sense.
Yeah, in terms of just the dynamic creation, not even close.
Yeah, exactly. And that's never going to be his game.
No, never. He's high-end outcome. You're hoping Derek White one day. I don't think he'll ever shoot it like Derek. And Derek wasn't a great shooter early in his career.
I mean, Derek White turning into 40% on 9 a game. I liked him when he was on the Spurs. I did not see that coming.
Nobody did. The chat saying Kyle Anderson can handle the ball. Maybe we should play him more than 4 minutes. And that's still gonna.
Yeah, but he has flaws too. Like I like slow-mo too.
He does.
He's also not breaking anyone off the bounce.
No.
He's ironically another connected passer. And it helps a 6'9", 6'10", and it helps he's a damn good defender and can rebound and do a few other things. And like all that's helpful, but like he's not like addressing the fact that like it would be nice to have someone who could actually beat their man off the bounce. Just
100. Once again, we're just dealing with so many imperfect options, and it's, I wish I had I wish I had better answers for the fans out there, but I just don't. Can I do one more Kuminga thing before we move on? All right, so I'm gonna share some stuff here. Where are we at? So I'm gonna share some stuff from StatHead for the people not watching on video, listening tomorrow morning, whenever you listen. So this is more than 2.5 turnovers per 36 minutes, less than 2.8 assists, more than 500 minutes played, and less than 52% true shooting.
Zoom in if you can.
Yeah, the comparisons here, the best comparisons we have, the most like comparisons: Caleb Martin, Zaire Williams, Marjon Beauchamp, Darius Baisley, Andre Drummond, Dwayne Dedman, Taurean Prince. And I think he's a better player than all of these guys. But these are not guys you ever envision in a high volume ball handling role. And that is who they are trying to make the number 2 option. Obviously, this is extreme. I want to go out and say that right now. But these are the statistical comparisons that we're dealing with for the number 2 option on the Golden State Warriors right now. And now Wiggins is obviously more the number 2 option when he's healthy. But the guy we're trying to shoehorn into that has comparable numbers to guys who are low volume. They're either bigs or they're low volume ball handling wings. And you're trying to make that guy a future superstar. And I probably shouldn't even put this out there because it's going to hurt his trade value. But it's just really frustrating at the end of the day.
The funniest thing about the Kuminga conversation, the Pods conversation, we can keep going down the roster, is like I like all these players in context of the Warriors having better players. And
yeah,
maybe that's the conversation. It's like, are you going to acquire a better player or not? So
that's what it comes down. And that was my only point. It actually wasn't to bash on Kuminga. It's more about the role that they're trying to put him in. If you actually can make him Sean Marion, fantastic. I'm all in. If you can make him more low volume in terms of just the ball handling, great. I think that works fantastically, but not with what they're currently trying to do with him.
Guys, are you ready to kickstart your fitness journey? Whether you're an athlete, a fitness enthusiast, or just getting back into shape, Body Spec has you covered. For less than the price of a haircut, you can get a DEXA scan, the world's most accurate body composition scan. So what's a DEXA scan? A DEXA scan is a highly accurate method for measuring various aspects of your body composition. So the most common one is body fat percentage. We're always curious about your body fat percentage. Hear about pro athletes, 230 pounds, 6% body fat, which is obscene. Like everyone hears about that. They get curious about that. But more importantly, bone density, see if you're on the pathway to osteoporosis or not, lean muscle mass, visceral fat, the fat around your organs, all these health indicators that are increasingly important as you age. And stuff that is, quite frankly, very expensive to get traditionally. Traditionally, a DEXA scan would cost you hundreds of dollars. It's something that, the average Joe couldn't get, something that Tommy and I could not get recently, but BioSpec has made it attainable for all. So code LightYears45, you can get a DEXA scan for only $45. That's right, $45, get a full DEXA scan, get your body fat, get body composition, all the things you want to know. Locations in San Francisco, locations in LA, and mobile vans that will come to you. The entire process, like 15 to 20 minutes total. I mean, it's such an easy win. Perfect time to do it. Every one of you has a New Year's resolution to get back into shape, get into better shape. Just like the Warriors have a resolution to make a trade, which they won't do, but you should follow through. So, yeah, guys, bodyspec.com, LightYears45.
All right. With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about the gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/lightyears. That's mintmobile.com/lightyears. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lightyears. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Because you always look back and say, how was Jimmy getting it done? He can't shoot threes. He can't go left. Whatever. No, I'm saying whatever they say about Jimmy, he figuring it out. I'm like, I seen him dribble with his right hand left and then pull up for 3 against Milwaukee this year. It was going crazy. Jimmy he's probably the closest that I've seen to Kobe Bryant with that mentality of just, man, Jimmy will figure out a way for us to win. I've never seen a will like that. I'm like, this dude got a Kobe Bryant will, a will to him to win.
Andre is an all-time bullshitter. He's an all-time bullshitter. I love that.
It's one of my favorites. So like everyone listening to this, you probably listened to last episode. You also have the internet on your phone. So you're probably aware of the rumors of Jimmy Butler on the trade block, and more interestingly, the Warriors increasingly linked to it. And it's not just Jimmy. We're up on December 15th, which is the official start trade season. For those who don't know, that means like guys like Melton, Slow-Mo, guys who signed over the summer are officially trade eligible, which opens up options for the Warriors. And what I wanted to ask you here is, I know a game like tonight makes you more hungry for the Warriors to make a roster move in general, but where are you at with Jimmy on this whole thing? Because he's a little dramatic,
Yeah.
but as my guy Andre says, the will, just all-time dog here.
Mama mentality.
Do they lose tonight if they have Jimmy? Do they lose tonight if they have Jimmy? I don't know.
Probably not. I mean, is he healthy? Is Jimmy playing tonight? Is one of the questions that you have to bounce around your head. But
Does he value the NBA Cup?
Jimmy would value the NBA Cup. He'd get into it. I think the hardest part for me is that you essentially have to give up Wiggins in that deal, and I just feel like you're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic at that point. Like you're just kind of like swapping problems for problems. And Jimmy I think would immediately become their second best player. I don't think there's really a question about that. I have always been a massive Jimmy fan, but he's 35 going on 36 now. And do you have enough left after you make that move? Because probably Wiggins and Melton and Kuminga and
what if it doesn't involve Kuminga?
I'm slightly more interested, for sure. But is Pat Riley doing that without Kuminga? I don't think so.
Do you think Pat wants to pay Kuminga?
No, but who else does he want on the Warriors roster at that point?
Look, I hear what you're like jokes aside, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Everything is bullshit until you understand what the real cost of it is, right? So.
Right, totally. And look, I've always loved Jimmy. I think I've been probably one of the bigger Jimmy fans out there. I think that there is I think a lot of times, like playoff rise or playoff fall, or people love to talk about that stuff online. I think a lot of times that's BS for the most part. There's something real there with Jimmy, and that's what Andre touches on. When he gets in like a big game environment, he is different. Like
he's a problem solver.
Yeah, absolutely. And problem solvers, that's a great way to put it. Problem solvers are way, way, way more important in the playoffs. And he would immediately be their second best ball handler, would immediately be their second best on-ball creator. And he would solve a lot of issues. But is it enough? Like if you're telling me you can get Jimmy and then like a big man who can shoot, like let's do it. Let's figure it out and get it done. But I think they kind of need 2 guys at this point. And that's really my bigger.
Well, yeah, the Melton injury made it so they needed a guy before Melton went down.
Yeah.
Now they need to replace Melton and get that guy too. So to me, let's talk through this. Let's say you pull the trigger. So you're in all likelihood having to give up Wiggins.
Yep.
Melton, that gets you to $39 million. You throw in GP2. You probably throw in Moody too. They probably give you back Josh Richardson or
Haywood Highsmith.
That'd be nice, right?
Yeah.
So they give you back something with Jimmy. I mean, we're not even discussing the draft capital we have to throw into it. In theory, you're hoping that's palatable. That's usually where the trade will fall apart. Like they want 3 picks, you're like, fuck that, you know. So,
Yep.
but let's assume that all goes well. Okay. So now you have Jimmy, you have Steph, you have Draymond. What does your ideal team look like as in terms of the other 2 players around those guys?
You have
I
Jimmy,
think you're
Steph,
onto
and-
something with someone like Hayward, Highsmith.
Yeah.
Just like a true 3-and-D wing, right? Like
Yeah.
a guy who dog defender is going to rebound his position, get loose balls, and can stick an open shot. Like that's what you
Yeah.
want around those guys.
Yeah, because you're gonna like the thing that you will miss most about Wiggins in the playoffs if you're a good enough team to even like really compete
Shot
is the
making?
Yeah, the shot making for sure, but you're really gonna miss the on-ball defense. And Jimmy can do that, obviously, but can he do it and provide like real second option punch? I don't know. That's tasking him with a lot at age 35. So you're gonna need to replace the defense. And like obviously, yeah, you need the shot making too. And that's where like it kind of does fall apart to me because you're losing a lot of shot making by giving up Wiggins. And I guess you said Kuminga is not in the deal. If Kuminga is not in the deal, I think I'm actually way more likely to do it. If you're losing Wiggins and Kuminga, that's where I have a hard time stomaching that because you're losing 40 plus points a game basically, and it's not the most efficient 40, but it is 40. So if you have to give up both of those wings, you lose a lot of athleticism, you lose a lot of scoring, and you lose just like a lot of kind of like physical toughness.
Yeah,
So,
I'm with you in the sense of I have a hard time giving it all up for Jimmy given his age and his contract status.
Yes.
If you don't have to give it all up and
Let's
you can
figure it
keep
out.
some of it, and then I'm game.
Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about Jimmy, he's an expiring, so you can re-sign him if you want, or you can make a run at free agents this summer. You really clear up the books this summer if you trade for Jimmy, like a ton. So it'd be. I mean, I don't know what the exact number would be, but I think you'd basically have around 40 to 50 million in cap space because they're a little bit over the tax, or what I want to say they're like. I don't know what the exact numbers are. Like I'm not a capologist, but you would have a ton of cap space this summer to really go chase whoever you want on the market or re-sign Jimmy. So it does. We're back to optionality, baby. We're back to optionality. But
Here's my other question for you because I'm seeing it going through the chat. There's arguments for why not make the Nets trade? The Nets, they're probably gonna trade Schroeder. They might trade Cam Johnson, like good players, but not like stars like Jimmy, right? Like not the same level. There's Kuzma and Jonas Valanciunas, whatever you think of them, same concept as cheaper prices, not as accomplished as Jimmy, but like also would not take nearly as much to acquire, type of thing. What is your thought on going that route where you're looking at kind of incremental improvements versus kind of going all in for like, look, man, he's been the best player on a team that's gone to the conference final 3 of the last 5 years, been to the finals twice. Playoff wise, I don't know that anyone has been better than him other than like the 4 to 5 players you consider the best player in the league in the playoffs the last 5 years.
Totally. I think honestly where I think I land on it is just I think unless you would have to get somebody I think a little bit better and younger than Jimmy at this point for me to really feel comfortable with the all-in trade. As much as I love Jimmy, like I said, I have been one of the preeminent like Jimmy Butler fans over the past 5 years. He's been like doing his thing in the playoffs. Tell me it's 32-year-old Jimmy Butler, sign me up, get it done. Don't care what it takes at that point, and multiple years on his contract. But that is not the world we're living in. So I almost side with and I keep coming back to this one, Dennis Schroeder and Cam Johnson. And it's not perfect, but you get another like real ball handler who's a true downhill threat and can shoot it just well enough, and he can guard. And you get a guy who can shoot the lights out of the ball with Cam Johnson. You get to keep Wiggins. So now you have like 3 guys who can go get 20 on any given night. And this is not a small thing with this team. Dennis Schroeder, 89% free throw shooter. Cam Johnson, 90% free throw shooter. It'd be nice to make some goddamn free throws every once in a while.
Well, man, I don't want to go down that road, but like I hear what you're saying. Here's my counter. I still think that's just a cute story.
Probably.
I don't think it gets anywhere. I feel like, look, it's highly possible trading for Jimmy is one of those 1 to 2 years too late. You know,
Yeah.
it's highly possible. I think I'd still rather gamble on the upside. Playoffs is about having big game players. I think this fan base over indexes 2022 when that was the epitome of a cute story who got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a repeatable recipe. I really don't. I would rather get Jimmy, who I trust in the playoffs. Draymond, I obviously trust in the playoffs. Steph, I trust in the playoffs. And trust that they can find the right kind of glue guys to go around it. And maybe they can't. Maybe they can't. Maybe they're like the Lakers with LeBron and AD, where you're like, you know, I know you can build a winning team around those two guys, but you, specifically you guys, you can't do it. But like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
the problem is not that like LeBron is too washed or AD lacks the dog. The problem is they haven't found the right confluence of guys to go around it since 2020, right?
Yep.
I think I'd rather gamble on the upside because I'm just tired of watching this team try to find the perfect puzzle pieces that come together in the perfect way where they're kind of overcoming the lack of high-end talent and it being the collective instead of, man, if I have Jimmy and I have Steph and they're physically right and I have Draymond, I think the bar is pretty low for the two other guys. I'm not saying they clear it, but I'm saying it's pretty low. You know, throw Buddy out there. What does Buddy look like with Steph and Jimmy?
Oh,
That's a lot of open, it's a lot of fucking open jumpers.
he looks unbelievable.
You know,
It's funny. It's just so tough. But I think if you have 31-year-old Steph, like the Dennis and Cam is enough. You know, where Steph can just go get 40 every night for a month. Like he physically he cannot do that anymore. He can do it when it matters, but not every single night for a month straight. So I wish I had a better answer to this, but I mean,
I'm gonna just put on the record. I'm all in. I've been a Jimmy guy for a decade.
Look, if you get me Jimmy Butler, I won't be mad, but I just don't know with what they'd have to give up if you have enough to get it done. But at this point, screw it. Do something. Do anything. Quit sitting on your hands.
I mean, look, if they pulled off the hypothetical Nets deal where they get Schroeder and Cam Johnson and it's more of a strength in numbers team, I'm not gonna be mad. I think the only thing that will be mad is if they continue running the same thing out there. Like I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. I want to say one comment here. So Jason in the chat goes, how does Jimmy fit in our system? He's an ISO guy. We're a motion offense. I've actually always had a problem with this point because Miami essentially runs the Warriors system. He does kind of play the Draymond role with a little more scoring, but like Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, like those guys are playing the way the Warriors play, just dribble handoffs to death, trying to get shooters open on the weak side. Yeah, he calls his own number more than Draymond Green does because he's more capable. But like, I don't know. I always felt like Jimmy, it doesn't really want to score the ball nearly as much as he has to.
Yeah, and that's part.
I think like, does any team run the offense as close to the Warriors as Miami?
Absolutely not. I don't even think it's really particularly close. I think Spo and Kerr are very aligned on the way they view the game in a lot of ways. And I mean, Jimmy plays with Bam, and Bam does a lot of the Draymond stuff. They figured it out more times than not. So if you put enough shooting around that, and with Steph and Buddy, I think you have it. Can Lindy play enough? Can you find another shooter? Can you find a big man who can shoot? Like there's other issues to solve. But Jimmy is an incredibly smart passer. He's a great cutter. Yeah, he ISOs a little bit sometimes, for sure. I would like a guy who can ISO sometimes besides Steph Curry. This team. Did you not watch
tonight's game? Tonight's game was begging for someone who could just call their own number and not turn the ball over.
How nice would it have been to throw the ball at Jimmy at 15 feet and just say, "Hey, go get a bucket."
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Tonight, I'm way more into the idea of Jimmy than any other night. Maybe if they won tonight and things were different, I'd be a little more on. You're like, well, I see what you're saying with the Nets move, where it's more about like incrementally improving pieces across the board. But tonight, I'm like, no, give me the fucking ISO guy.
Yeah.
Give me him.
I mean, Dennis Schroeder can do that, man. He can ISO. He's been doing it all season.
I am a Schroeder guy, so I'm not going to be too
Same.
upset about it.
Same.
All right, guys. Appreciate everyone. I think we'll be back on Sunday. Have a great evening.
Thanks, everyone.